bringing Gator Nation a different Gator great every episode.
This is Jabari Gaffney. You're listening to the All for the Gators podcast.
Hey, I'm Earl Everett. You're not a Gator, you're Gator bait.
This is Bo Carroll.
Hey, I'm Rita Anthony.
This is Kiwan Ratliff, and you are listening to All for the Gators podcast.
This is Cedric Faison, a.k.a. C4.
This is Brandon James.
This is Jack Jackson. Go Gators.
Hi, this is your boy Jeremy Mincy, a.k.a. Mr. Mintz, and we were the All for the Gators podcast.
This is Ben Trooper. You listening to the All for the Gators podcast.
Hey, guys, this is Jarvis Moss. Go Gators.
You rocking with Lito Shepherd, and we're All for the Gators podcast, man. Top notch.
This is Chris Doring, and you're listening to the All for the Gators podcast.
And now, your Gator alumni hosts, John, Andy, and Sid.
Well, gentlemen, it's been a heck of a year. This is our final show of 2023, and we don't do any timely content, but I just did.
Right. You time-stamped it, that's it.
Yeah, man, our first year.
Unfortunately, since this is a 2023 recap, there is not a lot to talk about for the current crop of Gators, but we are ever optimistic and hopeful for future success.
This was a recap?
No.
Oh.
I thought you said Happy New Year, end of the year, last show of the year, so 2023, if we're talking about the Gators in 2023.
Hey, that's not a bad idea. Why don't we do it? You ready?
Okay.
Gators 2000, here it is. Florida Gators 2023 recap with the All for the Gators podcast. Take it away, Andy.
And go.
There you have it, folks. This has been the 2023 Florida Gators recap from the All for the Gators podcast. Are we optimistic, guys? Are we optimistic?
I am. I am more optimistic than I was at this time last year after I sat through that pillow fight of a bowl game. So I will say that. I am optimistic.
Let me finish the intro with this. Would you rather have been the Florida Gators? What'd they go, 5-7?
Yep.
Okay, a 5-7 Florida Gators or a 13-0
I know where he's going.
Conference champion and be left out of the college football playoffs? Which team would you rather be?
Although I do derive immense enjoyment from the Florida State's missing out on the big dance, I think I'd rather have been 13-0 and been disappointed, actually.
Really?
Well, they would have been nice to watch 13 wins during the season. I'll take it. It feels like it's been a minute since we've had that. I'll take it.
I would never rather be Florida State, so I can't go there.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
That was a test.
That's
Sid,
fair.
You're fired. Sid, that was a test.
I can assure you this is not the first test that I did not pass. I can assure you.
New co-host for 2024.
Thank you. It's been fun.
All right, time for the guest?
Yes, bring him in.
Let's do it.
All right, guys. We've had some big dudes on the show before, and some of the defensive guys have even mentioned to us how happy they were when today's guest went from fullback to D-line on this show. But before coming to UF, he was the BMOC, big man on campus at Palm Bay High in Melbourne. See what I'm doing here, guys?
I see that. Well done.
He played running back, fullback, defensive end, and he dominated everywhere they put him, leading the Pirates to the state title in his senior year in 2002. He was first-team All-State, high school All-American. This guy was ranked the number 1 defensive end in Florida and the number 1 fullback in the nation. When he came over to Gainesville as a Gator, he was a 3-year starter playing in 48 games, 34 of them solidifying that D-line with big-time stops, hurries, forced fumbles, even 1 pick, all culminating in that fairy tale night there in Glendale, Arizona versus Ohio State. Gator Nation, I give to you 2006 National Champion, number 20 on his chest, Mr. Big Joe Cohen.
All right.
What's going on, Gator Nation? I hope everybody doing well this evening.
Thanks for taking the time, Joe, man. We really appreciate it.
Anytime, man. Anytime. Just let me know if my stories get a little bit too crazy, all right?
Don't hold back. We are amongst friends here.
That's the meat of the show, really, the stories we get from our guests. But let's start with Netflix's documentary, Swamp Kings, right? It's been out for a while. What's your take on what you saw that portrayed the team you were on in Swamp Kings?
What I saw that I'm 100% on board with and agree with. Like, I have mixed feelings over it, but the workouts, what Mickey Marotti brought to the table, what he gave us was real. Those workouts was hell, man.
Ooh, looked like it.
The off-season program, man, it made me into the man I am today. I'll be honest. Like it built character. So it was some hard stuff. I'll be honest.
Let's talk about those mat drills. Who in their right mind is jumping down on there with you?
And nobody.
We're talking 6'2", right? What were you, 6'2", 290?
Yeah,
at that point?
6'2", 280, 290, around there. Yeah, so nobody really, to be honest. I've never lost a mat drill.
Ever lost a mat?
I believe that.
And whoever said they never beat me in a mat drill, I need the video proof because I've never lost one.
So the coach calls out Joe Cohen, and then everybody else is just looking at each other.
Everyone take a step back.
Everybody step forward.
Well,
I just so happen not to get my butt kicking mat drills, man. They gave us plenty of other workouts that used to kill me. I used to be dead last on stadiums. I mean, every time. It's not one time that I did not come in last. So,
wow.
But mat drills, it's just one of those things that I was good at.
Well, you were also good at bench press, right? Is it true that nobody else on the team could out bench press you? Is that a true story?
Wow.
Yeah.
What'd you max out at?
Wow.
You had Ray McDonald. Me and Ray would go neck for neck. But, at the end of the day, I probably had 5 pounds, 10 pounds on. I just would not. Ray won everything else. I just would not let him beat me at bench. It's like,
man, 5-10 pounds. I got to imagine that he's pushing to get those 5-10 pounds. And then you're probably pushing for another 5-10 pounds, and it just keeps going.
Yeah. Oh, it was definitely competition between me and him on max out day. Like, Ray McDonald was a freak of nature. Like, his 10-yard sprint, his 40, his quickness, all of that. And I was like, I just can't let this guy beat me at everything every day. So the one thing I could get him at was bench press, man.
And 480 was your max?
No, actually, the funny part about 480, I did 480 for 2 reps my freshman year.
Oh, what?
Yeah, they had it in there at 480, and I was just like, okay, I guess. I didn't care too much to speak on it, but after my freshman season, my first freshman winter training, I did 480 for 2 reps.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So I never actually, with Mickey Marotti, his max outs were different. I did 365 for 13 reps.
Good God.
And it was more repetition than anything.
All right. I got to hear that. Andy, what's your max you've ever done?
Nothing near that, I could tell you that.
Sid, what's your max?
I did take weightlifting class, more to play basketball than to lift weights, but I was very excited when I got 200 pounds up once.
There's nothing wrong with that, fellas.
I did. There was a time where I was serious in the gym, and I got up 313. Is that possible? It was something like an odd number.
315.
315, and that was it.
When we came in as freshmen, when they did the max out test, everybody chose to do 225. I decided I wanted to do 315 because I didn't feel like doing 1,000,000 reps. I did 315 for 11 reps when we first got there.
Just for fun.
Yeah, I will say that. Now, I've always been strong. I can't say I've always been the quickest and fastest, but I've always just been strong.
Do you still lift today?
No.
Fair enough.
I don't lift nothing. I don't know the last. I started 3 weeks ago. I started CrossFit, and I'm like, I can't even do a push-up. I'm like, man, oh my gosh,
it goes quick.
Like it goes quick. Like somebody threw it off the top of the building or something. But I just started back working out 3 weeks ago. Yeah, I am going to try to get back in pretty good shape, but I never, I did 275 messing around with my high school players. Like we were in the gym. I did it for 8 reps, but I'm just like, nah, that's a lot. That's a lot of weight.
All right, I got a couple. Before we get into high school, I do have a question. You talked about Ray being a good athlete and good quickness. We got a guy on the team right now, Big Dez, man. You were considered a big guy when you were there, but what do you think about Dez? He moves pretty good for a guy that size. He's over 400.
That's a different big.
He occupies space.
It's a different big, but man, every time he gets in, he does his thing.
How big is Big Dez again?
He's
over 400.
Yeah, it's 430, 435, I think, something like that.
That's a big boy, man. Like in what he wears, number 21, right?
But he moves.
Yeah, I know he does, man.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if we utilize him the right way, stuffing them on that first and second and short yardage, like keep utilizing them the way that we are. Like I like watching them get in the game.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I wish he could stay in the game a little bit longer. Actually, like I like seeing him jump in there. You know,
Yeah. The fans do too. You hear the stadium go crazy when he gets in there.
Yeah. So, and we sometimes need that energy, man. We really do. You know,
Absolutely. All right, let's go back to high school. Palm Bay, like John said, you played both ways. When did you get into football, first of all? And then when did you realize you were like way better than everybody else?
Oh man, well, I got in football. Let me tell you, my first year playing football. True story. My first year is back in the day. You had a weight limit, you know, and to play with my age group, I was probably like 50 pounds over the weight limit. So I was 11 years old. I was 151, and I had to lose like 4 or 5 pounds to play with the older kids, the 14, 15-year-old kids. And my first year of football, I got my ass kicked up and down the field. Those 14 and 15-year-old kids beat my butt, man. So my first year of football, I was 11, and till this day, those guys that put a whooping on me, that like one of my best friends, his name is Rob. To this day, those guys still give me crap about how they used to beat my butt. And Rob, one of my best friends, he's the main one. Like I promise you, it's not a football game. It's not any day that we speak. It's not a day that goes by where he doesn't give me crap about how he used to beat up on me when I was a little kid. Because he's like 4 or 5 years older than me. But as far as realizing how good I was, honestly, I played for a good high school. And I played with Reggie Nelson, Xavier Carter, which ended up being one of the fastest men in the world at the time, Janif Moffitt, which played at Florida State. I played with so many good players. I never really considered myself like above, especially when you play with somebody like Reggie. Like Reggie's always been the eraser. Like I've known him since like 10 or actually younger than that. He's always been the eraser, you know. He's always made big plays and big games. So like I've always been able to take a back seat and enjoy that. And so I've never really considered myself like one of those great high school players. I just was like, I'm bigger than everybody, faster than everybody. So this is kind of easy, you know. But I just was always able to enjoy taking a back seat and watching Reggie play, you know. And I mean, actually watching him play. One time, he cursed me out in the middle of the game because it was a punt return, and I got in the way of him returning the punt because I turned around and watched him, and I literally watched him run right past me, and he like, "What are you doing?" in the middle of a play, and you get a chance, you get an opportunity to watch a guy like that play ball. You know, I knew he was special from the time that we was playing Pop Warner ball.
Sure.
You know? Yeah, it's never been a time where I've ever been like, oh, I'm a great player. And I played on great teams. So I've always been I try my best to be humble about it. And you ask me who's the strongest person on the team, I'm going to always tell you 9 times out of 10 it's going to be me, you know?
Yep. You played both ways. Did you have a preference back then?
Yeah, I love playing tailback.
Okay.
Listen, at 6'2", 250 pounds my senior year.
You had to be running people over.
Oh,
you were like Jerome Bettis out there? Everybody get on the bus?
Trust me, I was running people. I did enjoy that now. I can't lie.
Did they give you a nickname?
Reggie's mom used to call me Hurricane Joe. Hurricane Joe.
Nice. Hurricane Joe.
Yeah.
All right.
So Hurricane Joe, you wore number 20. Was this because you were a running back? Was it a Barry Sanders thing, or did it hold any special significance to you?
Oh, no. Number 20. So my best friend growing up, his name was Nick McGriff. His name is Nick McGriff. He's still my best friend now to this day. His brother's name's James McGriff. James McGriff was supposed to go to Florida back in 1998 when I was in 7th grade. And on senior skip day, he ended up drowning in the Indian Atlantic.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, over here at Melbourne Beach. And he was supposed to go to Florida and ended up obviously his dreams didn't come true. And so I ended up going to Florida. But what a lot of people don't know is on his official visit to Florida, his mom brought me along to keep Nick busy and out of their face. So like, it was my first time actually stepping foot on Florida campus, and I got to meet Coach Spurrier. I got to meet Titus O'Neil. Ain't gonna remember me, but I got to meet him, and I was like, "That is a humongous human being." Like you think about it, I was 13 years old. And like, yeah, I got to meet all these big people, which was really cool, man. But yeah, so he ended up not going to Florida, and when I came to Florida, I wore number 20 to represent him, and it's in honor of James McGriff.
That's pretty terrific.
Was he a running back too?
Oh, he was everything. He was a running back, and played secondary. Yeah, he was a phenom. He was a great athlete. He was ranked in the nation as well. So, and he was a major part of why I chose Florida.
So tell us about that. Tell us about the recruiting process. Were there any other places you were close to going, or was it orange and blue all the way?
Well, he was the reason I really got into actually college football. Like, just started liking college football, because at the age of 13, I didn't know what I liked. I was in my own little world half the time. Actually, my first love was actually running track. I ran 100, 200, and 4x1 and long jump and shot put. So I was more of a track.
You won some MVPs too, right?
Well, yeah, I was more of a track runner. Well, I like more track than anything else. So, but as far as how college went, it really hit me my senior year. Like, once all the accolades started coming and the parade All-American and all those things, that's when I realized what I had accomplished. And that's when all the offers started coming and the college visits started happening. LSU was really on my radar as far as going. And Florida State was too. Those two schools were. But honestly, when I went to Florida, it just felt more like home. It really did. Rand Carthon was my host.
Okay.
And I got a chance to talk to Seatric Faison.
Friend of the show.
Been on the show. He's been on our show.
Oh, C4?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's my big brother right there. Yeah, when I got to Florida, he took me under his wing. He was like, "I'm gonna take care of you." And still to this day, like, he called, check up on me, and just make sure, just see how life is going.
Oh.
And like, out of high school, I had my oldest daughter. She's 20 now. So like, Seatric would just give me some pointers on just being a dad and being a college dad, because being a college dad is totally different than just being a teen dad. Like, you got class, you got all these other things, and trying to make time and pretend like you're super dad at the same time is just next to impossible, So
how did you balance that? I mean, between your commitments to the football team, your classes, and your daddy responsibilities, like, how do you balance that?
Man,
do you have babysitters?
Well, my ex-wife at the time just took care of my daughter. But you can't balance it. Really, it's for those young men out there, don't have babies until you're done with college. And young ladies too. Yeah, you don't really have a life. You already don't have a life as a college athlete. I don't care what you say. Like, you don't have a life as a college athlete. So like, having a kid on top of that, you know what? Like, the freshmen called me. They called me Uncle Joe. And if you think I'm lying, get let me see. Let me name one of the freshmen. Like Blackman. Let me see. Who was there? Was Pitbull Head. And now that I call him Pitbull Head, I ain't gonna want to say his name.
Yeah.
He already, Rutledge. Hey, Eric gonna know. He already know he got a Pitbull head. It don't matter. Ask him. Man, those boys used to call me Uncle Joe, because all I would do is spend time with my daughter and barbecue every day, like every weekend. Like, I played the old man role rolling into my senior year of college. Like,
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it, though,
Let's talk about when you first get on campus, 2003, it's Zook's second year, and you go into that running back room, right? And you got C4, he was a sophomore, like you said. Rand Carthon was a senior. Deshaun Wynn's there. Latz goes there. He's a freshman too, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about that running back room and you going in there for the first time.
Outside of football, probably one of the funniest rooms I've ever been in my life. Um, I enjoyed it. But we had, like you said, we had Cedric Faison, we had Rand Carthon, we had Deshaun Wynn, which is one of the most. I think Deshaun is one of the most underrated players as well.
Agreed.
We had a lot of people forgot Skylar Thornton. We had some guys.
That's
in
right.
There. Yeah, we had some guys in there. I just played my role. We had Billy Latso. That was my boy. You got to just love a guy like Billy, man. Like, came to practice every day, worked his butt off. And when he started getting his plays in, you just had to root for the guy because he busted his butt at Florida.
Yeah, Earl Everett said the same thing.
Yeah, he just busted. Yeah, he busted his butt at Florida, man.
What about Rand? Any sign that he might be running an NFL team when you guys were working out all those years ago?
No, it was no sign of Rand running anything back then. Rand was enjoying his senior year.
And what does that entail?
Yeah, I can't tell.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Rand's old and married now, so. But Rand, he was a great big brother figure because he'd hang out with you and at the same time have you kind of not go too hard, not party too hard. Cedric, he was just dad. That's all he did. He was just dad mode. You never saw him out. You never really saw him doing much of anything but being a dad. Deshaun, on the other hand, he was out. No, he was a good time, man. But, we had a mix up in that running back room. But the funniest thing about being a running back was the diet plan they had me on. So I knew they really gave me the ultimatum. They was like, either you lose, either you get down to 240 and make the running back times on all the drills and this, that, and the other, or you can eat whatever you want and play D-line. And that wasn't even a tough decision. I didn't even have to leave the office and say I'd get back to you the next day. I just said, I literally knew right then and there. I was like, yeah, I'm going to defense.
That's how you wound up on defense? That's how it broke down? Huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It didn't take much convincing. It did not take much convincing.
Yeah, you went from 250 to 275, right?
Yeah.
Between your freshman and sophomore year?
Yeah. Right when they let me bulk up, that's exactly what I did, too.
They've been trying to get you to switch over and you were hesitant?
They didn't even try. I think they just knew that it was going to be easy to. They just gave me that one ultimatum. They didn't even have any other conversations about it.
Yeah. You know what happened? Charlie Strong saw him and said, we're getting him on defense. Yeah. That's what happened.
That's actually what happened. And I'm glad I did switch, man. I got to be coached by Charlie Strong, which is one of the greats to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you had him as defensive coordinator your 3 years playing defense there. So talk about your relationship with Charlie Strong a little bit.
Oh, man, if I see him right now, I'd love to give him a big hug, man. He's just been a little bit of everywhere. Coach Strong he was my recruiter. Till this day, he could probably name every family member that's been at my house. He still asks how my mom's doing. Matter of fact, I think my mom and my dad still talk to Charlie, Coach Strong and Coach Zook. I swear I still think they talk to Coach Zook. But like, Coach Strong is just one of those guys that you need on your coaching staff, or if not the head coach, he needs to be an important figure for your players because he's someone's uncle, someone's dad, someone's mentor. Like, that's who Charlie Strong is to your program, Mm-hmm. He's mentored and father figured a lot of guys on our teams, a lot of guys that needed that push. And Coach Strong is just one of those coaches, man. He really is.
Well, he must have pushed you because in 2004, that second year, you start all 12 games there at defensive end. You have 28 tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss. You have a forced fumble, pass deflection. So you're really, establishing yourself there on the defensive line. How are you feeling that year in your development? Are you happy playing defense full time?
Honestly, I didn't feel comfortable playing defense until I started being coached by Greg Madison.
Really?
Yeah, he's one of the best coaches I've ever been coached by. He's taught me things that till this day that I use and I teach my high school players. And they would come back to me and literally tell me my college coach is not even teaching me this. So Coach Madison taught me how to play DN and D tackle and nose tackle, because every year I just moved inside further and further. So I was blessed to have that kind of coach, man. Like between Coach Strong and Greg Madison, and then I'm not going to forget him, Coach Mark Campbell, which was a former player. He never gets enough credit. He doesn't, because he's a coach that's been there on the off season. He's the strength coach. He does extra work with the D line. Like, he will always get the D linemen together and like give them those motivational speeches out of nowhere. You know, I had my last 2 years were 2 solid years of football, like where I was really, really coached, where I was really pushed mentally, physically, and my game really started coming together, you know?
We had Stephen Harris on, and he spoke very highly of Coach Madison too, and specifically the times where he was removed from the team. Coach Madison would take his scooter and go check on Stephen all the time to make sure he was going to his classes, making sure he was okay, talking him into coming back to the team.
Credited him for staying with the team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coach Madison is one coach that I know if they said you got to run through this wall for Greg Madison, that's one person, that's the one coach. And Coach Strong is the other coach. I just happen to have them at the same time. Are the coaches that I know I will run through a wall for, you know? And yeah, Steve always was in something.
So you're mentioning a lot of coaches, but I have a question about Coach Zook. First of all, I think that's pretty amazing that you say that your parents still talk to him, and that is very consistent with lots of the friends of the show who were there under Zook's time. Everybody speaks with such great affection for him. So I'd like to hear your perspective on what it was like knowing that it was his final game and taking it to Florida State on that wonderful day where you guys walk off the field 34-7 and you send Ron Zook off one final time victorious.
On your shoulders. Yeah.
What do you remember about that day, and what can you tell us about your relationship with Ron Zook and what his impact was in your Gator experience?
Yeah, you know, well, a big reason why I came to Florida, of course, is Ron Zook. Coach Strong was my recruiting guy, but Coach Zook was very consistent, and like he was just a good guy to be around. Like the energy, you know, his energy is contagious, you know. No, it wasn't the seasons that the Gators wanted. But let's think about it. What was those seasons? 9-3 and 8 and what was those years? 7-5?
Yeah.
What was the record?
05
those
was
years?
9-3, right?
Yes.
So 03 and 04 were 7-5, right?
75?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, we needed to push here, push there. Like I felt like he should have got a fair shot, you know, maybe 1 or 2 more years. But hey, that time has passed. I know my time with Zook, and I know who he was as a coach and as just a human being. He was a great guy. I'm blessed to say I got a chance to get to know him. And I know like he's a player's coach, meaning he's gonna go to bat for you. And when I say go to bat for you, as you heard about the frat party. The frat boys.
Oh, yeah.
I know you guys know about that.
Yep, we got that story.
When I say Zook,
Can you tell us your memories of that story?
Did Earl tell you the story?
I think it was him. I think it was Earl.
Yes, I think it was Earl. Yes.
Did Earl tell y'all part of the story? So, well, really, what happened was they jumped one of our offensive linemen the night before, and it just caused this big crazy scene outside of the dorm rooms. Me, Earl, and Channing Crowder pull up, and we find out what's going on. And 2 of our linemen, we walk over there. So it's 5 of us. Next thing you know, these kids come running out of their dorm rooms or their frat house or whatever it is. And I don't know what kind of call they were doing, but it was like some howling call. And they circle us. And it's me, Crowder, Earl, Ristler, and Tay Casey. And you can ask Tay Casey this story. you could ask them this story. So they circle us. I'm thinking like, okay, well, if they're smart, they definitely have us outnumbered. It's at least 30 on 5. They were so afraid of just Crowder that they didn't even do nothing. And I'm just like, Crowder's one person. They were so afraid of Crowder. And I'm thinking, like, this is the time where you say, I just kicked Channing Crowder's ass. I would have just kicked all of our asses. This is your bragging rights. So after that happened, the police came and we all dispersed, went our own ways, and we told Zook what happened. And I mean, Zook was pissed after he saw what happened to the offensive lineman that got, jumped in this situation.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Zook was pissed, man, and rightfully so. We get it on campus. If that would have been the football players that did that, police would have been called. They would have figured out who it was. Something would have happened.
Right.
But since it was the frat boys, nothing happened. And I hope one of those frat boys listening to this conversation, because next year I'm coming to some games and I'm going to find them.
All right.
I'm gonna find them. No, I'm joking.
Got to get some old checks.
I'm just joking, man. No.
They were afraid of Channing.
They were afraid of Crowder. Then Earl, I don't know what Earl was. Earl was on Black Panther mode. Like he just disappeared. And then he reappeared behind them. And I'm like, how the heck did he get behind them? Like, he was going to sneak up on somebody. It was crazy. Like I said, Zook being the player coach that he is, like, he was so ready. He was so ready to fight whoever he had to fight for his players.
Yeah, like Sid said, we've had a bunch of guys on from that team in that era with Zook. And then a lot of those guys were still there when Urban came in. So, and we heard maybe those first initial impressions weren't the best, but a lot of them ended up having a good relationship with Urban. So how was your relationship when Urban came in, and how was that changed for you?
No,
Here we go.
Listen, I don't have a problem. Me and Herb don't have a relationship. I don't think we do.
Okay.
I got a relationship with Coach Strong and Coach Madison. I don't think I was ever one of Herb guys. Not saying he hates me, not saying he loves me. I just never was. I never really was one of the coach's guys like that. I'm not the guy like that's like, hey, I'm gonna be the first at the workouts. No, I'm the guy that's probably. I was the guy that came in smelling like Jim Beam the time or two. I'm never gonna tell you. I never pretended.
That was my Gainesville cocktail too.
Yeah, I was just about to say it. Sid walked in smelling like Jim Beam a lot more than 2 times.
Yes, I did.
I won't sit here and tell you I was the guy that was the leader, because I wasn't the leader. I did what I was supposed to do. I didn't get in trouble. I got in trouble once for throwing a motor scooter, but that's neither here nor there.
Whose scooter was it?
I don't know. It was
it's even better.
A crazy story. It was a wild night on Gainesville campus. So what happened was, I might as well tell the story just in case. I don't want nobody to think I'm crazy. It was my freshman year, and I just started drinking, and I started noticing every time I got drunk, the macho, let me see what I can lift, not throw, not hurt anybody.
There it is.
Yeah, not throw, not hurt anybody, nothing like that. The coaches are telling me how strong I am. I want to see what I can lift up. So I just kept lifting the heaviest thing up that I could find every time I got, intoxicated, like a dumb 19-year-old would do.
What was the heaviest thing you got up?
A moped.
Okay, it was the moped. All right. Was there a kid on it?
Yeah. No. So I picked up one of those concrete ashtrays. That was the second heaviest.
Oh.
But
that's awkward to even get up too.
I know.
Balance.
I know, but
that's strongman stuff.
Yeah, I've said.
Once you have enough Jim Beam or whatever you need,
that's it.
There's nothing awkward.
It's true.
we all did crazy stuff at UF.
Yeah.
I
was 19. You want to know the funniest thing about that story? My mom was like, okay, now you're starting to drink too much. Be careful. You don't want to end up in jail. Next thing you know, that the very next week, I'm in handcuffs. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my mom
she told you.
She warned you.
Yeah, my mom's gonna kill me. But that was young, 19, didn't know what the heck I was doing. After that, I quit drinking for a whole year. Like I was like, nah, I'm never drinking again. I've never been in trouble, never been suspended from school. So to go from that, never been suspended from school to being in handcuffs, it was like, no. I put that to a halt.
Andy, does that sound familiar? Didn't your dad take away your Camaro after your first semester or something? Because you were drinking too much?
No.
What?
I didn't have a car my freshman year. I will tell you the story about drinking and lifting things, though, because my summer freshman year, a bunch of us were in the same dorm, and there was this dude that used to park his car. You know those guys that park their car in two spots? They take up two spots?
Yeah.
Well, he was one of those guys, but we loved him. He was our favorite guy. We never knew who he was, but we'd come back late at night, and couldn't find a parking spot because only one of us had a car. This guy, we'd just get out and lift his car into one spot and then put our car in the other spot. So we had a few too many, and lifting was easy, and we moved a car. So that's our lifting story with drinking too much.
See, we've all done it.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's get back to the football field here. Let's talk about 05. Meyer comes in. Once again, you play in all 12 games. You get your first sack and interception. Do you see the culture changing, obviously, with Meyer?
I would say this. Meyer was a mad scientist when it came to football then. I don't know if I was one of his guys, but I do know the man knew football. The year that we won the Natty, he literally told us what the record was going to be and that we're going to play in the national title game. I mean, he explained how the season was going to go. He explained the loss to Auburn. He explained all of that.
Oh, my gosh.
And that's exactly what happened. But you saw the culture change. You really had no choice. It's either get on this train or get left. And that's really what it was. So it was a lot of guys that came in with me, my freshman class, that were no longer there anymore. Sometimes I felt that punishments were too harsh. I never was the guy that was on that side of the punishment. I did what I needed to do. I fought the fight that I needed to fight
to survive.
I played.
Yep.
Yeah, I played ball to the best of my ability. I wish I would have. Coach Madison told me. I had, a lot of people don't know this, at Florida I had 2 hip surgeries, and I could have redshirted instead of going into my senior year. But I was like, there's no way in hell I'm doing another off-season program for free. There's no way I'm doing mat drills. There's no way. And, I wish, hindsight 2020, I wish I would have stayed because I didn't realize how important that one more year with Coach Madison would have been for me, And, I would have been able to get the T-Boy experience because his freshman year, he got his ears wet, he got his feet wet. But I really would have been able to enjoy playing with him one more year. He ended up being just as great as the one thing I love about Tebow, who he says he is 100% that guy. I can't say that about many people. I really do mean that.
Speaking of your teammates, who are some teammates that you played with?
Oh man,
at UF that really impacted your football career at UF?
Of course, Reggie, but I just always been happy for Reggie, Reggie Nelson. Of course, Reggie. We've gone through a lot together. One of the players that impacted me the most as well is Earl Everett.
Uh-huh.
Earl and I, we're still really close to this day. I'm his son's godfather.
Okay.
And yeah, man, he's still to this day, he's such an impact on my life because he's just such a great, humble guy. DeGory, you guys may not know this, but DeGory played at Palm Beach High with me. My sophomore year when we won state, it was with DeGory. He's the only offensive lineman, Mike DeGory, only offensive lineman to ever win MVP at a state game.
Wow.
So, yeah. Yep, he was my offensive lineman my sophomore year when I scored a touchdown versus Dillard. It was the only touchdown scored, and we beat Dillard 10-3, I believe. But yeah, I had Big Mike blocking for me. Me and Big DeGore have been playing with each other since the 7th grade.
That's got to be pretty special to have a couple guys, that you've grown up on the field with.
Oh, yeah. Man, it was a blessing, man.
At UF playing together still.
DeGore's always been like a big brother. Always. Still to this day. Like, whenever I see him out, he's always, just being Big Mike. Just, if you need him for anything, he's there, Hell, Steve Harris, he doesn't realize it. Just, maybe not the Steve Harris when I was playing at Florida, but the Steve Harris now, like, the growth that I see in him and the things that he's done with his life, man, I'm just real proud of him. Like, I've had some pretty cool guys at Florida. I really did, I had the opportunity to play with and play under some real cool guys that guys probably don't even remember Kenny Parker, but Kenny Parker taught me a lot when it came to D-line. But he had a really bad back, so a lot of people he didn't play after my freshman year. He didn't play at all. He just helped coach and stuff like that. I believe they honored his scholarship, but he taught me so much about D-line.
All right. Before we skip over it here, the national championship game, 2006. Let's go back to that game. And you playing it, what was that like for you, and how special is it to you looking back on it today?
Man, the part that sucks about the national title game for me is that 4th and 1 when they went for it. I don't know if you remember that play when it was 4th and 1 and they went for it and they didn't get it. I sprained my ankle on that play and I tried to come back the second half. But before that, that whole game for me, every play, it just felt like an adrenaline switch. No, the stadium wasn't as big as the Swamp, but man, you just knew what you were playing for. You know what I'm saying? And being able to even on the sideline after messing up my ankle, being able to watch Steve Harris and Ray McDonald and Jarvis Moss and all them boys, Earl Everett run them down without the helmet on, like being able to watch that from the sideline, the second half, it was amazing, man. It really was.
How'd you celebrate?
I ended up going to
more Jim Beam.
No, Ciroc. No, what was it? It was Grey Goose.
There you go. There you go.
The funny part, I ended up flying out the next morning. Me and Reggie Lewis, we flew out to Hawaii because I got invited to the Hula Bowl.
Right.
And I wasn't able to participate in the Hula Bowl, but that's how I celebrated. I went over there, and Coach Strong was the one who was like, "No, go to the Hula Bowl. I don't care if you could play or not.
Yeah,
you need to go have vacation."
Who wouldn't want to go to Hawaii? Go.
I know, right? It was a nice trip.
So you had some big games at UF, obviously. Big game against Bama. You had some big stops. Does any one stop or tackle stick out in your mind to this day?
I could tell you my favorite games, which is LSU. For some reason, I've always played my best games versus LSU. Just, I don't know why. One year, I think I had like 7 or 8 tackles, a sack, in that interception, all in one game.
Wow.
Yeah. For some reason, LSU is just.
Who was that quarterback that you sacked?
Russell.
Oh, DeMarcus Russell. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
That dude is a brick house.
Big, strong guy.
Yeah.
That's a big guy.
Yeah, man. So that LSU sticks out to me. And also the SEC championship game sticks out for me rolling into my senior year. I had a pretty good game then, too. I had like 8 or 9 tackles on that game, too. Because Ray McDonald was out with, his elbow or something. He had a hyperextended, I think his elbow. But I had a hell of a game in the SEC championship game. So definitely enjoyed that one too.
So after your time in Gainesville, you get drafted by one of the signature franchises in the NFL, San Francisco 49ers. You got a few fellow Gators there with you, Ray McDonald, who we've mentioned a few times, a couple receivers there too, with Taylor Jacobs and Darrell Jackson. But my question for you, I'm all about NFL Hall of Famers, and I think you've played with several on just that rookie year alone. You got Frank Gore, you got Patrick Willis, but as a defensive lineman, and I know he was more known for his time with the Cowboys, but what was it like? Did you get to have Larry Allen block you? Was he as strong as they spoke about? Like, did you go up against him at all in preseason or anything?
Nobody. You don't go against Larry Allen. That's not happening. Hey, let me tell you. So as a rookie, I ran scout team, and when I got in for LA, Larry Allen, he was like, "Hey, Rook, don't touch me." And I was like, and I knew who he was. I'm like, this is Larry Allen. I don't know. He's on year 14. I'm like, am I not supposed to touch him? I go to the sideline, so I didn't touch him. I go to the sideline and I tell my coach, I said, "Hey, coach, man, LA said don't touch him." He said, "If LA said don't touch him, damn it, son, don't touch him." I was like, okay. I'm just making sure because I'm not trying to get cussed out. And another story about him, he was in the weight room one day because I guess he heard I was strong. He was in the weight room one day and he was doing 500 pounds with chains.
Oh, God.
And while I'm walking past him, he was like, "Hey, Rook." He was like, "Hey, Rook, come get a set." And I looked at him and I was like, "Nah, I can't lift that much." I'm just like, I'm strong, but I'm not that strong. Like, that's my max, man. He was a strong dude. And another,
he was doing reps of that?
Oh yeah, he was repping that. He sat it on his chest.
My God.
It was 495 plus 40-pound chains. And by the time I walked towards him, he already did like 3 reps, and then he sat it on his chest while he was talking to me. And then he lifted it up again, and I was just like, "Who in the hell? What?" And then
Welcome to the NFL.
Yeah, really.
He bullied me one time. And I'm glad he was joking because I definitely was about to figure out where he lived. He called me over. He called me over to him one time, and he was like, "Hey, Rook, come to my house today and clean my car." And I was like, "Okay." Hey, this is the first human being I was afraid of. I was like, "Okay." Like, I'll be there to clean it. What's your address? And he just bust out laughing. He was like, "Man, I'm just messing with you."
That's great.
I'm like, "Thank God."
So, also on that team, you had Bryant Young. Another great Hall of Famer? That must have been an experience.
Oh, I got a story about him too, man. Me and Ray. So, we're young, man. And Brian Young, he's on year 14, just like LA is. And, he's very spiritual. He's very religious, So he doesn't curse. He doesn't do anything like that. Me and Ray, we're 23 years old. And we just curse away. Like, we say every curse word in the book. And, like, I'm walking in the meeting room, and I'm like, "Mother F this, and this, that, and the other," and just cursing, and Ray cursing too. He was like, "Hey, young man, stop all that cursing." I looked at him, and even though he's my teammate, I was like, "Yes, sir." Yes, sir. I never cursed around him again. I was like, "Nah, I won't do that." Like, that is actually, Brian Young is actually a big dude, man. Like, they don't make him like him no more. He looks like an old-fashioned football player, like Jack.
Yeah.
Another old-fashioned kind of football player. You got your first sack against. Can you tell us that story in the NFL about your first sack in the NFL?
Man, I didn't even, honestly, I had to wait till after the game. I didn't even realize I sacked him. I thought I just had a TFL. Like, it happened so fast. It happened so fast that I just thought I had a TFL. But it was, having that sack on Brett Favre is pretty cool because I believe that was his last season. So that means I'm one of the last few people that sacked him.
Well, Joe, I'm going to need you to really go into detail about that sack and how that felt. Well, by the way, Andy's a diehard.
It doesn't bother me because he was on the Vikings at the time, so I didn't care.
Let me tell you about the series. Well, it was a pretty cool series. So it was 3 and out, and I made all 3 plays solo.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, the first play, AP got the ball, and it was like for a 2-yard carry, and I made the tackle. The second play was a sack on Brett Favre, and the third play I batted down Brett Favre pass. So
look at that. You made a play against 2 Hall of Famers 3 plays in a row. Look at
Hey, yeah, I know,
there
right?
You go.
Well, AP will be there eventually, but that's a sure thing. That's pretty amazing.
I hope that counts. I hope that counts for something.
It does.
So, Joe, you had stops in Miami, Oakland, Detroit, besides San Francisco as well. What do you take away from your experience in the NFL?
Man, honestly, I wish I could go back and do it all over again. There's times I wasn't focused like I should have been. I let the nightlife get the best of me. NFL is short-lived. So you got to take, like, I talked to my little nephew. I talked to my little cousins that's playing. Marcus May, which is a local kid, like, he played at Florida, of course.
Yep.
He's
Safety,
New Orleans now.
sure. I know him well.
Yeah,
I'm a huge Jets fan. He's with the Saints now.
I've been knowing him since he's been 4 years old. So, like, he's from my hometown. So, just being able to, what I take from it is, like, it is short-lived, and you got to make the best of it. Like, those guys like Patrick Willis, like, when I see how he trained and when I see, like, how some of these guys really understand that it is short-lived and they did take full advantage of it. Like, I just look back on my career and just like, man, everything that I wanted was right there, and I wish I would have just been more intentful with my purpose in the NFL,
Sure. Well, in 2015, you get an honor. You're inducted into the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame. And you're actually the second player on this show that's been inducted into the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame. Do you know that?
No, who's the first?
Aaron Walker.
Oh, okay. All right. That's really cool.
Yeah. So tell us about getting that honor, in your hometown there.
Well, that is pretty cool. It's a cool honor. Like, I love that my kids are going on field trips and they see it up there. That's actually one of the coolest parts of it. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Because my kids don't know anything about me in football. Like they don't know Daddy played. They know now. They're starting to grasp it now, but they were too young to understand that I played football and I won national titles, a national title, and so on and so forth. But it is pretty cool being honored by Space Coast Hall of Fame. I'm grateful for the award. Like I said, I think it's really cool that they honor me with that award.
How many kids you have? And are they in any sports?
Oh, man, don't even ask that question. No.
Uh-oh.
No, I have 5, man.
Okay.
I have 5. My oldest is 20. My youngest is 6.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man. 5.
Got a basketball team. Nice.
I know. I would say a basketball team, but none of them athletic.
Oh.
My youngest one is athletic. My youngest one is. But the rest of them, they either sing or dance or draw. They're more artistic than anything.
Okay.
I can say they got that from me, too.
Okay. You sing?
No, not the singing part. The drawing and like I'm more artistic. Like I like to do poetry. I like to, maybe do some drawing every now and then.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm more on the artistic side sometimes.
I know you were involved in coaching. Are you still involved in coaching? Is that something you like to do, or?
Yeah, I'm still involved in coaching, man. I love coaching, especially when I actually truly have the time for it. In 2016, 2017, I got busy with my own business, which is a group home for special need adults. So it took away my time to be able to coach for a little period of time. But now that I moved back home, I'm getting back into coaching again.
How'd you get involved in that business?
I had a cousin. He passed away now, but he was special needs, and I used to babysit him every now and then as a kid, and he was my buddy. And then in my high school, of course, you had the special need kids there as well, and a lot of them was my buddies. Like, especially when we walk in the track, or I'm skipping the class and I'm hanging out with some of them. So I like it. Just owning the business for special needs just came easy. It was just something me and my brother put together, and it just came easy. It just felt right,
Yeah, that's
rewarding.
really great. That's great.
Yeah.
I used to volunteer a little while ago and go tutor a special needs kid, and it was really, really fulfilling. So that's why I was curious how you got involved in that.
Yeah, man, it's very rewarding, man. And plus, they tell you the truth. One thing about those with special needs, they do not sugarcoat nothing. They tell you the truth at all times.
They keep you grounded.
Yes, they do.
All right, Big Joe Cohen, man. We end the show with a bit, and we're gonna have you do a Mount Rushmore to end the show. Are you ready for this?
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not ready. I'm not. Go ahead.
All right, you got to give us your Mount Rushmore of your favorite Disney movies.
Oh, because he's moving to Orlando. Where'd that come from?
Cause I'm a Disney buff.
There you go.
Hey, I'm a Disney buff. Okay. Big Hero 6.
Oh.
Marvel.
Wait, that's not Disney. That's not Disney. That's not Disney.
That's Marvel. Yeah.
Big Hero 6 is DreamWorks, I believe.
Marvel characters.
All right. Calm down, Sid.
Sorry.
Now you guys got me now. You guys got me now. I don't know. I have to look at my list of Disney movies now. Because you got Disney, and you got
all right, let's say Mount Rushmore of animated movies. Make it easy.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Let's go. Big Hero 6. You got 3 more.
All right, Big Hero 6. What's that? Roger the Rabbit?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Who Framed Roger the Rabbit?
Everybody loves Jessica Rabbit.
That's the main reason I'm saying that. Let me see. Shrek.
Oh, good one.
The original one.
Yes.
Okay. And let me see one more. That's a good one. Zootopia.
All right.
Okay.
That's a good one.
All right. Big Hero 6, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Shrek, and Zootopia are Big Joe Cohen's Mount Rushmore of animated movies.
Very nice.
Oh, man. Joe, it's been an absolute honor and pleasure to have you on with us. A national champion, just an all-around great guy, man. Great stories, and appreciate you taking the time to share them with us.
Man, thank you guys for having me. I really enjoyed myself tonight, man. Definitely appreciate you guys.
You're definitely now a friend of the show.
Yes, sir. Go Gator Nation.
Big Joe Cohen. Man.
Another great interview. Wow. That was good stuff.
Great guy. Great guy,
Yeah,
too, man.
really great guy.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And not shy with the stories. He told us a lot of good stories in there.
He did.
Yeah.
There's some good ones, man.
I mean, we heard the story about the frat house.
Yes.
But we didn't really hear the story. You know what I mean?
This was a little more behind the curtain.
His version was better.
Yes.
A little more detail. A little more detail of his
I
story.
want to know what Shannon Crowder was doing for 30 frat dudes to be scared.
Yeah. That's impressive.
All right, guys. It's time for our last 2 bits of the year.
Ooh.
Last 2 bits of 2023.
There was one part of the interview I was really shocked that we had never heard. We've talking to a lot of guys that were teammates of Joe Cohen during that time, 03 to 06, and been through the transition from Zook to Meyer. But when he told us that Meyer sat him down, the team, and told them what their record was going to be, where their losses were going to be on the schedule, that they were going to lose to Auburn, how they were going to lose to Auburn.
I know, that was wild.
That's just some crazy stuff. I mean, he called him the mad scientist, I guess, it fits.
Yeah, it sure does.
Good one.
I'll stick with the coaching. I'm going to go back to his coordinators, though. I thought that was pretty interesting. Madison and Charlie Strong, they were both the co-defensive coordinators, and it's like they both were set up at the right point to have, the right impact on his career and then his life moving forward, right? He talked about Charlie Strong was more the personal side, and then Madison with the technique actually taught him how to play defensive line, and that's how he got comfortable playing, and ultimately went on to have those 2 final great years and get drafted. So I think it's interesting to hear these guys tell stories like that, and the way things line up sometimes. And for him, it was lined up perfectly. He needed those 2 guys at that time, and still keeps up with them to this day.
Yeah.
Pretty cool story there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my 2 bits. I was leaning towards what Andy was saying, and I'd just like to acknowledge how amazing is that Ron Zook is still in touch with his parents. That's pretty awesome. But I'm going to pivot and say, although I definitely do not condone bullying, how cool is that Larry Allen story where he was absolutely ready to go drive to his house and wash his car? Very cool. Shout out to Big Larry Allen.
We've heard another Larry Allen story on this show before. hazing the rookies. I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was Mincy?
Well, that would make sense because Mincy was on the Cowboys with
Yeah.
him, so that would probably be it.
Yeah,
but
I guess that made it very clear that Larry Allen wanted everybody to know who the big man in the room was, no matter who was in the room. That everyone needed to bow down to him. He was the Debo of the team.
The Larry Allen stories were hilarious, man. That was funny. Don't touch him. And he said that first guy I was afraid of. That was pretty.
No. The first human being he was afraid of.
That is what he said.
First human being he was afraid of.
He used to get drunk and just see what things he could pick up. See how strong he was.
Yep.
Wow.
Just like how Andy used to get drunk and just see how far he can run, like Forrest Gump.
That's right.
Yeah.
Happened once or twice.
Keep on running.
But I knew as soon as he had the Jim Beam reference, that was it for. I knew Sid was going to be perking up for that one.
Yes. Yes. As the non-beer drinker in our group, I was the guy who would choose to forego the free beer at every place we went because I was walking around with the Jim Beam bottle and the 2-liter thing of soda. Smart guy I was.
What did you end up doing with all those empty bottles that you had in your apartment?
As a child of hippies, I absolutely recycled every single one of them.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure.
All of those glass have been well recycled and created future bottles for others to enjoy down the road.
All right, gentlemen. Pleasure, man. Congratulations on a year of a brand new and awesome Gators podcast that we've put together, and it's doing well. So looking forward to next year, and happy holidays and happy new year to you and yours.
Likewise, looking forward to a big 2024 for both for our show and for the 2024 Florida Gators.
And to all our friends of the show out there.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening.
Let's see how many studs we can get out of the portal, right? Because that's how college football works now. So.
Yep.
Next year we start the playoffs, so there's more spots to be had. So, we just got to aim for, is it 12 instead of 4?
Yeah, 12 teams make it next year.
Yeah.
If FSU goes undefeated next year, they'll still not make it.
They're the number 13.
That's how we end the show, ladies and gentlemen, on a Gators podcast.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. Go Gators.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.